As a school resource officer, I'm a uniformed police officer working at the school to ensure the safety of the kids and to build relationships with them. I first started off working at a middle school with about 1,200 students who were just starting off their social media lives and learning how to do so. I later on went to work at a high school with 2,300 students who had lots and lots of social media. In order to see social media the way my students did, I made a fake social media account, and I started adding students from the school under my assumed name. What surprised me is that every single student I added accepted me as a friend. Within a few months, I had over 400 students at the school who had accepted me as their fake social media friend. Now, some of these kids had no idea that they were friends with a police officer. What I discovered is that many kids at the school have between 400 and 4,000 social media friends. A lot of them had more social media friends than there were students in the entire school. What concerned me about that was if they were friends with me who they didn't know, who else were they friends with? Right? And then what question I really had was, how many of their friends that they didn't know were online predators? In my journey into social media, I found that millions of online predators are just waiting for kids to come online to make them victims. I also discovered many other perils of social media that included but were not limited to, bullying, fraud, sextortion, desensitization, and even sex trafficking. Now, as a parent, how can you navigate the ever-changing world of social media? It's easy to think that a parent would have to be a digital technology wizard, fluent in the digital applications of TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, and whatever other social media the kids happen to be into next. In working with thousands of kids at the school every day, I learned that the parents that were winning this battle were not technology wizards, and they were not sitting over their kids' shoulders every day looking at their social media. What I learned is that the parents that were successful at checking in with their kids' social media were using very low-tech methods to do this. And because of that, any parent, regardless of their technological background, can use these same methods. First, we have to assume that we can't set up our kids to be able to navigate every single problem that's thrown in front of them. But let's use news headlines as an excellent tool to equip them. Every week there's news headlines about predators that are after kids. Every week there's news headlines about kids who've made mistakes that change their lives. And I know some parents don't want to introduce their kids to some of the ugly news headlines, but it's better that you talk about it with your kids so that they're able to navigate some of these problems without having to experience themselves. By having conversations about possible problems and how people got into them, your kids will essentially extrapolate how to solve problems in their own online life. What's super nice about this is it's super low tech. No technology required. It's just a conversation you have with your kid. Second, the outside world isn't the only thing you have to worry about with your kids in social media. Sometimes their friend circle and their peers will try to victimize your kid through the use of bullying, and online bullying specifically. It used to be that you had to bully in person and you get to take a break when you went home at night. Nowadays, bullying is 24/7 through the use of online applications. Sadly, I get real reports from real kids and real parents on how a kid wakes up and he sees messages in their inbox on, hey, you should kill yourself. You should not come to school today because you're too skinny, you're too fat, you're too short, you're too tall, and you're too so many other things. Now, while I take measures as law enforcement officer, I know that it's far better for me to teach kids how to solve these problems themselves. So over the years, I came up with a low-tech visual aid to help kids understand how to combat bullying. Each time I had a kid come into my office and say, Officer Gomez, I am being bullied, I'd ask them a few questions, and then I would draw them a picture. I would draw them a simple picture of a house key on a sticky note pad. Now, I would tell the kids that this sticky note represents control of their life, right? It's control of their thoughts and emotions. Now, I would hand them this sticky and I would say, hey, you have somebody who's bullying you and trying to control your thoughts and emotions. Why don't you go ahead and rip off a piece of that key, and I'll give it to them and explain to them how much of control over your life they have. And every time I would tell them to rip off a piece of that key, they would hold it next to their chest and they'd say, Officer Gomez, I don't want to give them control of my thoughts and emotions. I want to keep that for myself. And I would say, I want you to do the same thing. And they would take the key and they would usually put it in their wallet, or they would put it in their binder so they could remember and they could use it in case they ever forgot. This is a super low-tech way that parents can have a conversation with their kids about bullying, right? No cyber safety degree needed, no tech wizardry. They don't even need my taser. It's just another conversation, low tech. Thirdly, we have to understand the different dangers that are coming after our kids. Predators are coming after your kids online and they're attacking their self-worth. They're getting to know your kids and they are exploiting things that your kids might not be happy about. Lots of kids wish they had the latest fashion trends. They wish they could maybe have a few more freedoms to do different events like staying out at a party too late, or maybe ditching school, or other things that a lot of parents don't allow their kids to do. Well, predators go after those weaknesses, and they will explain to kids how the predator understands what a rough life that kid has and how much better that kid's life would be if they just had a parent like the predator that they're talking to. What I found is the best way to combat these predators is through gratitude. If you teach your kids how to be thankful for the things that they have, their friends, their family, their community, it makes them a lot more resilient to these predators who would try and attack their self-worth in order to make them a victim. A wise person once said, if you're in the state of gratitude, you can't be in any other state. And what's nice is it virtually takes no time at all for you to point out the things in your life that you're thankful for and the things in your life that your kids should be thankful for and what they should be thankful for. Again, a super low-tech way to build up your kids' self-worth, their enjoyment of the world around them, and make them very resilient to online predators. As you can see, this technology battle isn't one with technology at all. It's one with conversations about risky situations and how they develop. It's one by empowering your kids to exercise self-control over their thoughts, their emotions, and their self-worth, right? It's run with gratitude. The best part about this solution is if you teach your kids these things and talk with them about them, not only will they be safer, but their friends will be safer as well. I was sitting in the high school cafeteria and talking to a group of young ladies, and one of the girls happened to mention that she felt like she was getting bullied. Now, as I was about to start my questioning to ask her a few more in-depth things about how I could help, her friend said, hold on, Officer Gomez, I have this. And her friend reached into her backpack and into her binder, and she pulled out a sticky note that I'd given her probably a year before. And she started to explain to her friend, hey, this represents your control over your life, over your thoughts and emotions. I smiled and I walked away because they didn't need me. They had showed me yet one more low-tech way on how kids can stay safe online. they can support each other in real life. Thank you.